Zentavius Smith. And somebody lost a helmet. 10. Now Nicolosi straight to the ball. It's loose. Bo Richter has it. So once again, it's Levi Williams again. He's stopped. And again, it's Trey Taylor involved. Richter has his passing yards already. Rolling out of the pocket, he's picked off. Trey Taylor has his third interception of the year. 3rd and 6 here. Air Force blitzes. Maiden's in trouble, and down he goes. Watching that one in the booth. Little trickery here. Asante is caught and dropped, and that's Trey Taylor. But they think about making a change. Woodson in trouble, and down he goes. Back at Maiden, pulls it. That ball's picked off. It's intercepted. This one's going back. This is pressure by Richter. He is setting up a colony in the back.
The G5 Hive. All G5, all the time.
Welcome to episode 33 of the G5 Hive, and it is a special one. We're joined today by two amazing individuals from Air Force who recently wrapped up their pro days as they're preparing for the NFL draft. Please welcome safety Trey Taylor and linebacker Bo Richter. Bo Richter is a linebacker for Air Force Falcons, a 2023 first-team All-Mountain West player. In 2023, Bo led the Mountain West in tackles for losses with 19.5, highlighted by an Air Force Bowl record 4.5 tackles for loss versus JMU. Finished 3rd in the Mountain West in sacks and had the 5th highest single sack season for Air Force Falcons with 10. Bo was recently recognized as the Brian Bullard Award winner. This award is voted on by his teammates and recognizes unselfishness, 110% effort, total team commitment, and pride in his role on the team. Trey Taylor, a safety for Air Force Falcons, a 2023 first-team All-Mountain West player, the 2023 Pat Tillman Award winner, awarded to the player who best exemplifies character, intelligence, sportsmanship, and service, the 2023 Defender of the Nation Award, awarded to somebody who exhibits exceptional leadership qualities on and off the field, academics, and engagement in the community. The 2023 Thorpe Award winner for the best defensive back in college football and an AP third-team All-American, Trey, who's recently recognized by Air Force as the Jack Bradley Mr. Intensity Award winner, recognized by the players on the team that worked the hardest and had the most dedication in the weight room during the season and off season. Welcome to the shows. I'm going to need a drink because that was a lot of accolades to talk about you guys. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
We're really excited to have you guys on the show and get to know you a little bit better.
How did it feel looking at some of those highlights they're getting to start this?
So it seems a little too soon to be nostalgic, but I think that's what it was.
Yeah, I gotta admit, like looking back on some of those highlights now, especially like some of Bo's that I really haven't seen like on video, some of those celebrations that made me laugh. So it's been kind of funny looking at that.
Well, we want to say thanks to Rick for setting this up. Can you tell us a little bit how you guys and Rick crossed paths and what that means, someone like Rick in your corner?
Yeah, I mean, I could start with that. So Rick kind of walked into both of our lives, and especially like mine, early sophomore year. It was towards the later part of my freshman year, but I think it really developed into the sophomore year. He just became like a huge part of some of my everyday stuff surrounding the program. He was real big and good to talk to. He actually gave some really good insight for the position that I was in. He had known a lot of the players that had come before and that had similar aspirations and, similar things that they were dealing with. And so, he was really good, and it was really nice to talk to somebody who had some direction on where to go for some of this stuff. So yeah, that's kind of how we got started, and we're here.
Yeah, Rick has been a huge supporter of Falcon football for a long time, and he's been in and around the program longer than I have for sure. And it's just he's one of those guys that makes himself available to the players as kind of just a resource and a friend, really. I remember the first time he kind of introduced himself to me was after the Boise State game my sophomore year, and he just kind of came up to me and he would kind of let me know that he'd been watching me and he's been supporting me. And it's just he sees everything and he's such a great supporter and such a great friend to have in our corner. So he's just a friend of the program and definitely a friend to us.
That's great to have that that support when you're away from home and all that. Trey, we have something that Rick shared with us that I wanted to show real quick and maybe get your thoughts on this picture here.
Is that Shador Sanders?
Yeah.
Yeah, we played in the same football league for a little bit. His dad was coaching, and I actually played on their little truth team that they had going on for a little bit. I think on this play, I switched arms with the ball and stiff armed him to the ground and ran for a touchdown. Actually, but yeah, that was a good memory. I got some good film from us going back and forth back in the day, football, baseball. So yeah, that's pretty fun to look at.
I mean, it's just a cool picture, because now the roles are reversed, right? You on defense and him on
Yeah,
offense.
yeah. You see how he's already
The
falling?
rumors,
Like that's. Oh,
the
I did
rumors,
hit bad that game.
the rumors are that after you scored a touchdown, you showed up your wrist and pointed to your fake watch, and then that's where that developed.
Yeah, I think he had nightmares from that, so he hasn't given me credit yet for what I created. But I think I created a little monster in him, so I'm happy with that.
What was it about Air Force that you chose them over another program?
This is one that Trey knows. We've all been getting the same questions from parents and recruits throughout our time at the academy, and so we're kind of rehearsed in this answer. But the reason why I chose it is just because I wanted to set myself up for the future. I think I was blessed to have good people in my corner, kind of encouraging me to make a good decision, not just for where I was going to play my college football, but what I was going to do after. And there's not a lot of schools in the country that can give the opportunities on the football field and in the classroom and giving you a degree that matters like Air Force can. So that it made the decision pretty easy for me in choosing, what was going to set me up the best.
Yeah, and as for me, to kind of rebound off the answer, I did want somewhere that was going to set me up pretty well for the future. I wanted somewhere that if football didn't end up working out, that I could have something that I can fall back on for my family in the future, and then as well, I played the long game with a bunch of these big time schools coming out of high school and never got offered by really a single one. Um, and so, I was kind of left by the wayside by a few schools that, made promises and did all that type of stuff. It's a business. So I fell behind in recruiting. And so 2 weeks before signing day, I got some bad news that, the school that I thought, was going to take me didn't end up wanting me anymore. And then, I'm trying to look for a school now. And, now you really got to buckle down your options. And the Ivy Leagues, they're all need-based programs, and so it's been kind of like walking on to a college to play, and I didn't play football for all those years and trained to kind of be a walk-on at a school. So I visited the Army, and anytime I can talk bad about them, I will. It wasn't for me. It was terrible in my opinion. But my friend was already committed here from a rival high school, and so he basically pleaded me to take a visit, and I did, and saw those mountains, saw people like Bo that I'd be going to school with, and um, I I ended up loving the area, loving the coaching staff, loving the people that I would be, sharing the field and school with. So it was a pretty easy choice.
Bo, we heard that you didn't start playing football until your junior year of high school. What kind of, I guess, what started that process for you to say, hey, I want to play football now?
Yeah, I was a basketball player the majority of my young life. I didn't really start playing football, like you said, until junior year. What made me do it was really I wanted to get prepare my body to play basketball. I just wanted to I figured it couldn't hurt to get stronger. A lot of my friends play football, so I'll just do the summer camp and summer workouts with the football team, so it's not going to hurt me. And then little did I know you can't really just do the workouts and not play the next season. So I ended up playing. I ended up liking it a lot, and then I kind of just it kind of just worked out. I kind of realized I was getting looked at for basketball, but it was all really kind of low major Division I schools looking at me. So I just decided that that wasn't going to be a great route for me. Just physically, I was not going to be able to compete at that level. So I thought my build and my who I am is more suited for football. So yeah, it just kind of worked out, and because raw, like I was a good athlete, but I hadn't played a lot of football. I didn't have a lot of film. So I mean, thank God I ended up at the academy, and it ended up being the right path for me.
What position did you play? Were you a 4 in basketball or power forward?
I was like 1 through 3. I play. I mean,
Okay.
obviously when I was a little kid, I probably played 4 and 5, but I was a guard.
Okay, nice.
All right, Trey, speaking of high school football, we understand that you played with current Denver Bronco wide receiver Marvin Mims and Kansas City Chiefs linebacker Nick Bolton. What was that like?
Uh, it was a blessing, honestly, being able to be around that talent kind of from a young age. Um, you know, that helped me in my development. Seeing Nick Bolton, in front of me and me giving him calls and, him dominating the way that he did and teaching me a lot of lessons, in the way that, I saw him approach the field. It completely changed my way of thinking about football, honestly, and which, also changed my trajectory in football in itself. And then Marvin, it sucked because we'd be going against each other in one-on-ones every day, and he would beat me. Scouts would come and they would check out spring practices for me, and I would just be getting torn up every day. So that didn't look good. But looking at those dudes now from then, and seeing like the big impact that they have on their teams and on the game that they have like right now, it's insane to see that talent coming out of the same school, and we still have more talent coming. We got the Ashton Genty running back from Boise. We got Jalen Ford, linebacker from Texas. We still got people in the circuit, so it'll be fun seeing who else we still have flowing through.
Being a D1 athlete, is a special group, right? It's a subset of all the kids that play football, high school, and in younger years, and so not a lot of people get those opportunities. When did it kind of click for you guys that hey, we're different? We're going to be a D1 athlete.
I never really thought of any other option. Honestly, I'm not the kind of guy to doubt myself. I always knew that it would work out the way it was supposed to. So I worked really hard in basketball, and I never had a doubt that I was not going to make it in basketball. And then I started playing football, and I thought this is a better route. I have no doubt that I could make it here. So I never really thought there was never a point in time where I was like, I can't do it. So I don't think there was ever a time that kind of switched for me.
And like as for me, with my dad playing D1 football, like I felt like I would have been a loser if I didn't, And so since a kid, I was kind of where I saw myself, and that's where I pushed myself kind of every day to kind of go achieve. So yeah, it was kind of set in stone from a young age.
So making that jump from high school to college football, what's that biggest hurdle in that whole transition?
For me, it was there was the two aspects of the game was physical and mental, and those are really the only two aspects. And both of those aspects were really hard for me to get my head around. I didn't know much about football really at all. So the film room and install was really tough for me. And honestly, physically, I wasn't ready to compete at a high level when I first got there. And then once I kind of started changing my body that off season, and really, taking weightlifting seriously, and training, I felt like the game mentally it slowed down watching film and preparing myself with install and stuff like that. But then on the field, like everything just slowed down. Like when you're not worried about once the guy gets to you, what am I going to do? And you're worried about what am I going to do to him? Then it gets a little easier.
Pause. For me, I feel like mine was more speed of the game. But it was along the lines of the actual speed of the game when I got on the field. Like, if you watch any of my sophomore year film, I was just running around like a chicken with a head cut off. I was just out there having fun, see ball, tackle ball, but the speed of the game, I wasn't familiar with it. So actually getting those reps, getting my speed to kind of where I wanted it, and then my size and strength to where I wanted it, like that helped me slow the game down more than beyond just watching film. I was able to see like, okay, the reps after reps after reps, that's going to help slow the game down for anybody. So that's how it was for me.
Is there a certain player that you guys try to model your game after?
Go ahead. It seems like you have an answer.
I mean, mine of course, is Ed Reed. Like that's just a family member, so
Yeah.
it's pretty easy answer for me. But for Bo,
one of the best safeties of all time.
Yeah.
When I started kind of shifting more into edge stuff, I watched a lot of Von Miller, and just trying to model my edge rush after him because he's not a huge guy. So I felt like it was a good model, and I felt like he was really crafty on how he got to the quarterback. So he's one of my favorite players.
As you guys look to make that transition now to the NFL, the NCAA, there can be a pretty big talent gap amongst positions across the nation, across all these different schools. In the NFL, that gap shrinks a lot. What sets yourself apart from others when you make this transition to the NFL?
Well, for me and Bo, I can speak for Bo too because we've done it together. I think it's our work ethic. It's a cliche answer, but I've seen us put in work and separate from the pack little by little in college, and to get to where we are now. So I think that just adding that extra work and that mentality going into the league, that's going to help us, hopefully have the same, type college career in the NFL, a long, healthy, and fun career. For me, going to the Shrine Bowl, I'm the Air Force dude, military guy. People are already looking at the name on the jersey like, he doesn't play real football. And then, they see really quickly that, that talent gap in college shrinks, extremely quickly once you get to the league. Like everybody is good, everybody's legit, and those dudes from the academies will whoop some tail. So, that I think that's definitely going to help us going into the future in the long run.
Yeah, and I that one thing I said. Some people have asked me about Trey, like, is Trey Taylor the real deal? And I say the same answer, and I just say like every guy that comes out of the academy who's a prospect is better than they seem, in my opinion. Every guy that comes out is better. They're better athletes than they look on tape. Like guys it's just, we are so doubted, and people like look at us with a stigma, and they watch our film with a stigma. And then when we get on a different field, it's like people just expect us to not do as well. And I think once we get out there, and I think proving that stigma is wrong is easy, just because I think, we have a lot of good athletes coming out of the academy. I know me and Trey, like I'm not worried about losing a step athletically to guys in the league at all. Like I'm worried about, no, I'm not worried. I'm excited to work on my craft mentally and get that better. But I'm not worried about physically not being able to do it.
It's interesting to hear you talk about the stigma, because I had, just me personally, I had never, like, if someone had asked me, I could see where there would be a stigma with on players on the offensive side, right? Just
Yeah.
because of the type of offense that was run. But I never would have thought about that from the defensive side. So that's pretty interesting. When you guys are kind of looking at your draft prospects, I'm assuming there's some kind of formal, or maybe it's informal, communication process with the NFL that says, "Hey, Trey, you're looking at X round," or "Bo, you're looking at X round." What can you tell us about that process and kind of how that works?
I mean, everybody has a different opinion. The only opinion that matters is the person calling the shots on draft day. So, I've heard 6-round projections. I've heard UDFA projections. Me and Trey have talked about it. Nothing's guaranteed. It takes one guy to like you. So, you just need one guy. And for me, definitely, I'm not expecting anything. I just need an opportunity. That's my perspective, and I don't really give any stock to the hearsay and this person says what, this person thinks I'm this round. I think it's all kind of opinion.
Does the NFL like tell you, like, do they give you, hey, this is our projection, or do they not do that?
Scouts will tell you, but
Okay.
I think that's the same thing. It's just
Gotcha.
people can be blowing smoke all the time, and people, a scout can have an opinion that's different than the GM. So
Absolutely.
I don't know. Trey may have a different opinion on that, but
No, I mean, that's pretty consistent around the board. You're gonna have sites with scouts who still do have that stigma, on these military or group of 5 players, and they're gonna give them a lower grade and predict them to go in a lower round. Honestly, sometimes because of where we played and who we played. But it's all the opinion of the actual scouts and the GMs and the execs on that draft day. So, you can. I've had visits, and they've said, we see you going in the 5th through 7th round if you're still on the board, and that's like Bo said. NFL is a business too. People can blow smoke up your butt. And so it all matters about that one team on draft day that really wants us. We had Jordan Jackson 2 years ago. They were like 29 teams that projected him to go undrafted. I mean, he was ranked, on these sites as 350th best player coming out in his class, and he ended up being, round 6, I think, pick 191. And so, it all just depends on what that GM really sees in you and what the team feels like they can do to you and do for you when you get into the program. So it's really about that one opinion.
So when you're preparing for pro day, like you just did, what all goes into that preparation?
it's a lot different than football training, that's for sure. It's very, very specialized. A lot of technique, and it's interesting because it's most of that stuff is not. It may help you become a better athlete physically, but it's not going to help you, sharpen yourself as a player. It's just kind of it's what it has to be. You have to go work on that, and you have to be good at doing those drills. And being a good athlete is part of it, but really being a technician and running the drills right and doing all the things right it's become so much more important. But it's a different type of training than I've ever done before.
100 to rebound off of that. It's definitely a different type of training. Right now, like, I'm sure, getting back into actual football training, I sweat, 5 times more, and that's because football training is short, quick bursts, short, quick movements, trying to hone in on your craft, which is, for me, backpedaling, braking, and disrupting routes. And, it's nothing that you see in combine training because, like you said, everything is so technical, everything is so specialized, everything has to be a little bit more sound, because it's all drills. You don't really want to overwork yourself most of the time doing that combine testing or the pro day testing. And so, trying to keep people's legs fresh and healthy and stuff like that. That applies a lot more to the going into combine testing than or combine training than actual football training.
So to kind of piggyback off that, there's a lot of real analytics in football now where there's, tracking and shoulder pads and this and that. I don't know if you guys have heard about real analytics and, you know, how many miles per hour you're actually running with pads on and a football and a helmet and all this stuff. Would you guys prefer that that's what you get graded on as opposed to these pro days where you're running a 40 that really like your splits really matter and your first burst off the line or or do you guys rather keep the pro day stuff?
I mean, for me, like I'm a big proponent of like film. The film really does talk. Like I know 100,000 million% like I run faster on the field. Now I've seen it in a lot of my plays. I'm like, I didn't even know I can move that fast. So I feel like I would like, for that GPS to be utilized a little bit more on the field to, be a gauge of how fast somebody is. But I'm sure there's going to be people who are test takers and they're going to say the exact opposite. Like they want the pro day to really even out the playing field and see who's fastest. Xavier Worthy, he wouldn't have been breaking the record in the 40 if they would have taken it off of pure game speed. So I'm sure there are people on both sides of the coin, but
Yeah, I mean, you see a lot of wide receivers make money on that 40 in terms of draft capital, but it never actually materializes on the field,
yeah.
which is really where it's more important, like you guys said.
I think that that'd
Um,
be an interesting measure of game speed with the GPS stuff. Because I think the stuff has merit, but I think sometimes people weigh it too heavily. And I think game speed is a real thing. Like some guys don't run a great 40, and you can tell on tape like that guy can move well. So I think game speed is a real thing, and I think that stuff it'll be interesting to see what that does because I think I mean if the science is down, the science is down. So.
when you guys are either talking to or visiting NFL teams prior to the draft, what's that experience like?
So I think there's
Trey's
like
been to a couple teams.
yeah. So there's like different things that you can do. There's 30 visits. There's local pro days and there's like local visits. And I think all of them are going to offer a little bit something different, but they all have the end goal of getting into the coach's eyes, then being able to see you one on one, talking to them about the game plan, where they can see you fit in their scheme, how they, want to incorporate you on a daily basis, even special teams. Like I talked to the Ravens when I was on that visit, and we spent 30 minutes just talking about where they could possibly see me in special teams and going through some of those movements and them showing me like it's not just going to be about a defensive game. Like you're going to play special teams for us. So there's a lot that these visits are for, but they all are for the same end goal of just them getting you into a facility and checking you out and seeing what you can really provide for them.
Yeah, I'm going to. A lot of the feedback that I've heard was after pro day, and then I'm going to the Broncos local day this weekend, and then the Bears local day early next week. So we'll see. It sounds like they just want to, get to know you a little better and show you around their facility and kind of education on both sides. How do they like you? Show you around the facility, and definitely where you fit in their scheme is definitely a big part of it.
And it's interesting to hear you talk about special teams because sometimes I think people forget about that, and that's just from just getting on an NFL roster, being able to play special teams is huge.
Yeah. I mean, Brock Purdy got paid what 795 or less last year. Um, and of course he's a quarterback, but you can go into, the guy that was probably right before him as a DB, he can play all the snaps that, the whole team played and still get only paid, around 800K for that year. But when it comes down to like the player incentives and, I think it's called like PFF or something like that, where you get like money for individual plays that you can play on the field. Like, that's huge. Like Brock Purdy and a lot of those guys who might have been drafted super duper late, but still got in all the reps they could on the field. They they doubled their salary. So um, shoot, special teams, and of course not just for the money, but that's going to be a huge proponent for how a lot of people get paid. But yeah, like special teams runs the game. I've seen us lose games because of special teams. So I think both of us are extremely ready to do whatever they need for us to do, whether it's run down, I guess 10 yards now on kickoff,
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what do
or
you think about the new special team, the kickoff rules?
what's funny is I was reading some reports on it. I was doing a little bit of research on it, and it helps guys like me and Bo. It's kind of tailored to those bigger safety and bigger hybrid linebacker body types, because they want an athletic build and a fast runner that can still fit the gap and run by somebody to make a play, but they also still want a defensive mind that can handle the knowledge of because they're going to have tight end bodies and small lineman bodies and that kind of stuff. And they're gonna be running plays. They're gonna be having pulls and power and stuff like that on kickoff. So having people on the defense that are athletically built and that can still read all those pulls and stuff like that is gonna help the team a lot. So it's gonna help. I can't be mad at that. It's putting money in both of our pockets, probably.
I
But
agree. I think it's tailored to bigger, stronger guys for sure.
yeah.
All right. So you guys talked about how getting ready for the pro day was a lot different than football training. What's the difference between the field training going from high school to college and then college to the NFL? Like, what is that training difference like?
I guess for me, training right now, like yeah, I'm training in college. Whether it's on my free time or with the actual squad, like I'm training against and really for the guys that I'd be playing against in college, and the guys I'd be competing with on this stage. From Alabama and Georgia. Still thinking about those guys I can't even see on a daily basis. But the NFL, like I think it's pretty similar. But for us right now as rookies, as for me right now, I'm training against Brian Branch every single day. Like every single rep that I'm doing is lining up across from him and seeing which one of us is gonna beat each other on this rep. And so like it's a lot more um it's cutthroat. Like, for me right now, my mindset in this is, if the Lions draft me, you know, I love him. Like I like the dude that he is, and I'm lucky to be able to compete against people like that. But you got to come in and take money off somebody else's plate. You got to take somebody's position. And so it's not about going out there and really having just joying around and chilling with with your boys. It's like this is about taking jobs. So it's a little bit more cutthroat than it was in college.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing just in jumping from level to level is just the technique becomes so much more important. Like everyone just becomes more and more of a technician, especially with the NFL vets. Like guys who played 5-6 years in college are tenured veterans, but those veterans in the league have been doing that half their lives. And I mean, they're technicians, and that's the biggest thing. The coach, everything becomes more specialized. The coaches are going to be more specialized. The coaches are going to be they're going to know exactly what they want, and just working on that technique and just being a technician in what you do, I think is the biggest thing in training. It becomes increasingly specialized the higher the level you get.
Trey, let's say you have to cover like a Justin Jefferson or a Travis Kelce. How does that look different? Like what how would you play them differently, I guess?
Yeah, Travis Kelsey, from starting with him, from what I've seen, we're gonna get to Justin Jefferson, but with Travis, he's very physical, but he's just as physical as a lot of the guys that I've been able to play in college. Like when it comes down to when it really comes down to it, like you see some of the guys that you're training with now, and there's not a big difference in their strength at all, like at all. Some of them are probably going to be end up weaker than some of the guys I played against in college. So for me, it's about dissecting, more his footwork and not the physicality that he brings. So seeing, how many breaks he usually takes when he's getting out of his breaks, seeing how many steps he usually takes to get to the top of his route and make that break, seeing how he moves his head on those breaks to, kind of know where he's going before he actually goes there. And then hips are going to be a big part of it too. Like dissecting that kind of stuff with him is going to be. I mean, that's where I'm going to make money. And then Justin Jefferson probably play the zone. Probably. um, I mean, for him, you got to be physical with him. You have to. You have to win the line of scrimmage. And if you don't, it's going to be a tough route to guard him. His stems on his releases, when you're playing off man, can be deceptive. He'll stem to the outside and still break to the inside. And that's almost like a rule in football. Like, you can't do that, but he does it all the time and wins with it. So it's going to be playing him up close and getting hands on him and being physical, because I know I can out physical him. But yeah, this is going to be something that I have to learn with the reps that I have in practice. Whatever team I land on is going to have a number one receiver, and I'm going to have to do that, with him every day.
And Bo, is there a certain type of offensive lineman that it's tougher to attack? And how do you prepare for the different techniques the O-line might try to show, to slow you down?
I think honestly, it's not like a prototype of tackle that's more difficult. I just think certain guys are more susceptible to speed. Certain guys are more susceptible to power. Certain guys are more susceptible to counters. So I think it just, and you can be big and long and lose the edge every time, and you can be, shorter and stockier and you can get beat on the inside every time. Like it's not guys just have tendencies, and it takes a lot of film study. And I definitely think feeling out a guy throughout the game is super important. And pass rush is like a game of chess. Like you gotta set up moves. You're not, nobody's going to win every single pass rush rep. So setting guys up with different moves is super important. And I don't think anybody's particularly like any prototype of body. Like I've gone against guys that are 6'10", I've gone against guys that are 6'3", and they both present different challenges. But I don't think anyone is any build is more difficult. I think they're all just different.
Can you talk about setting up moves? I played college baseball, so I kind of understand. It's like setting up pitches. People get upset. Oh, you threw a ball. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm doing that so I can do this thing later.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the whole setting up a move and all the thing that kind of goes into it?
Well, just generally, I think every pass rush series is set up with speed and working edges. So I think just first rep of the game. I don't want to give away any secrets here, but I think it's pretty standard. First rep of the game, you're trying to win the edge, and if he oversets. So I would say every rep is predicated with speed, but you have a backup plan. And if a guy is biting the edge really well, you work speed to power once, and then you come back and work him with a stick or a spin, and then he'll bite because he thought you were going to do power. And the key is if you're setting up every move with speed, every move is going to look similar, allow you to win. And it's kind of every rep's got to look the same to start. So you never know. Tackles are always scared the first pass rush of the game. So I think those are the hardest to win. But you just gotta play the game and play chess with them, and that's how it goes.
All right, Bo. Who was the toughest lineman you faced in college?
The tackle from Wyoming was pretty good. The blonde-haired kid, he was at the combine. I think he ran the second fastest 40 there. He was a good player. And to be honest with you, I think the schemes were harder than the players. I didn't really come up with against a tackle that I didn't feel like I could win with. Like I said, you're not going to win every pass rush rep, but I didn't feel like I got locked up by anybody. But I think Hawaii was difficult for me because they were sliding the protection towards my side every time, and it made it a lot harder to win because the edge was really, really long just because he could overset and have protection on the inside with the slide. And you still got to find ways to win when the odds are stacked up against you like that. But that made it difficult. I'd say Utah State was a little bit difficult for me. Frank Crum, Rick just told me, from Wyoming, he was a good player. And then I just say Utah State, they short set everything. And it was not great for our game plan because we had just gotten we had just gotten messed up a little bit because we thought we had a pass key against the team and it didn't end up panning out, and we got gashed in the run a little bit. So we were afraid to kind of take a pass key from a offensive tackle's alignment and stance. So we didn't really utilize that as much as we could have. Looking back, I think we should have used it more, but it made it difficult because we were in a run stopping stance every play, and transitioning from a parallel stance basically to a pass rush get off makes it really hard to get a good get off and get in the tackles, get in his face before early and often and defeat the hands. It's just kind of they short set and the edge is difficult to win. So I think that'd be one thing I would go back and change, is just read demeanor a little bit better and don't be afraid to do that. You're going to win some and you're going to lose some, but it may destroy your pass rush just as a team if you're not going to take the hints the offense is going to give you.
Do you guys have a favorite football drill, and if so, what is it?
I like get-offs. I think that's the moneymaker. I like get-offs.
It's a good question. For me, honestly, it's like, shoot. Ooh, I don't know. Probably just like a regular footwork drill, like pre-practice, just getting my feet right, just getting my feet ready to go. We do like a bunch of tackling bag drills, and those are cool too, but definitely something to get my feet warmed up.
Yeah.
All right. Bo, I'll ask you first, and then Trey, you're next. What is your favorite defensive play call? And then can you walk us through it?
I kind of like our bread and butter. I mean, as a pass rusher, the best play call is going to be a game for me, just because games are always called on third down, and that's where the fun happens, on third and long. But for me, honestly, I like any of our base stuff. I like our cover 3 and our cover 4, just because I think it's really easy to be on the same page in the base calls. And I think that's what makes a defense successful, is when everyone knows exactly what they're doing. And when you try to get a little too cute with your calls, I think that's when breakdowns occur. I think if you're really good at one thing, you should stick to it and add a little bit of color in there to keep offenses guessing. But I'd say our base cover 3 is my favorite. And it's just playing the edge, spilling pullers, and controlling the offensive tackle is my responsibility, but everybody else is pretty standard cover 3.
Trey, what about you?
For me, it's going to be, I'm not going to say the actual name of it, but I'm coming through the B gap on a blitz, and then I'm going through on the edge on a blitz. Whenever they blitz me, I'm happy. Like I'm like I actually audibled a few times on accident during the season because I I thought that they were trying to send me, but it worked out. So but yeah, anytime we get a call with the safety blitzing, a weak rotation, I'm definitely happy.
If someone had never seen you guys ever play football, is there one game you'd tell, hey, go watch this game?
I'd say JMU for me.
Yeah, that was easy. For me, I would say either Utah State, Wyoming, or Colorado State too. Those 3 games.
If you could replay one game in your Air Force career, which game would it be and why?
Army 2023. That's it for me. There was a lot of things I could have done differently, but I think I would go back and get the team right a little bit more. I don't think we came into that game as mentally prepared as we needed to be successful. Guys, I think fell asleep a little bit after all the success we were having early in the season, and I think our leadership I can take the blame for that. I think I failed the team a little bit, keeping everybody focused, and I think we could have done better.
I'll rebound off of that too. No, that was going to be my answer. No, I didn't do a good job getting the team right. I saw a little bit of the complacency, and it led into next week as well. I will say though, I wish I could have back UNLV. It was just such a pinnacle game in our season as well, and some of the fake punts they did, or I wish I could have helped my corners out a little bit. There's just some plays in the game I look back and I'm like, dang, I wish I could have told somebody before it happened. And of course you can't, but if I could have that game back, I would have my DBs play things a little bit differently. But
I would take one play in that game back, keep me on the field.
Yeah.
What opposing player gave you guys either the most fits, either from an in-game perspective or just having to prepare for him?
Ashton Genty from Boise State. He was a better receiver than he was running back, and that's rare. He was able to get out in the flat and really make things happen. And even when, we would be holding all their receivers to, little to nothing, he would slip out in the last second and, catch a ball and, get a 15-yard first down. And so it was tough going against him. He was a multi-parallel dude. He could do almost it all. I mean, if you asked him to punt the ball, he'd probably punt it too. He was special. And he'll be special.
He's a special player for sure.
Yeah, he'll be special for years to come. But for us, for most of the defense, I'm sure that was our toughest. But especially for dudes, linebackers, and then DBs, it was definitely him as well.
Yeah, I would say for me, just in terms of shiftiness, I think Shimon Cordero, the San Jose State quarterback, was tough to get your hands on. Not even tough to get down. He was just super crafty with the way he moved in the pocket. I don't think he really affected us. I think same with Genty. I don't think he's affected us so much scheme wise. It was just you got to make tackles on these guys, and I think our team suffered against both those guys, making those guys making the first guy miss, and that's just something you gotta you can't miss tackles if you're gonna win football games.
What player on your own offense gave you guys fits in practice?
Nobody gives us fits.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
We don't play against our starting offense. Luckily, honestly, because we're lucky to have a bigger roster. Just being a service academy, we have a bigger roster, so we can basically run two separate practices. So when it comes to the season, we're not getting beat up all week playing the triple option and then going out and having to play Utah State's ultra spread.
So you guys you're basically playing the scout team, I guess, right?
Yeah, basically. And I don't think that anyone specifically gave me fits. I think you kind of guys are, if you play against a tackle, like I think a couple of our tackles, they didn't. I wouldn't say they gave me fits, but I started picking up on what they were doing, and they started picking up on what I like to do. So it was just kind of, you had to evolve as the season went on because guys started learning your moves, and you had to expand your arsenal a little bit to be successful in practice. Just because guys get they're not idiots; they'll pick up on you doing the same thing every day. Yeah. So it forces you to experiment and create new moves and get to the quarterback in different ways. And it also, it makes you make sure you're not telegraphing stuff. Like you got to make, like I said earlier, every single move has to look the same. So I think that playing against the same guys every day, they're going to pick up on it if you're not super meticulous with making it all look the same. So I think there are winners every day, but you got to do your best to come out on top as many times as you can.
When you talk about the scout team stuff, you hear that, it's hard to prepare for, Air Force because they run this triple option and people aren't equipped to kind of run the triple option, nor as executed as well as the people who do it all the time. How do you guys prepare for like the Utah States that spread it all out all the time, and
Or Hawaii,
Hawaii and that Timmy Chang offense? It's almost like the same thing. It's like, well, we're equipped to run things this way. How do you prepare things on the opposite side?
I know for us as a whole defense, like they do a really good job of getting people and personnel in the right ways when it comes down to practice. Like, of course, we're not gonna have a 6'3" receiver that's 210 pounds running down the field, but we are gonna have a 5'8" dude that has probably better speed, honestly, giving us the same look. And really, speed is what we need when it comes down to those days. So on the back end, they do a good job of getting us in the sets that we need to be in. They do a great job, actually. There are a lot of times when we would be running the plays over and over and over in practice that I saw in the game, and so that helped a lot. But also with that, I will say, we did walkthroughs every day for just as many plays and probably more time than we spent doing live reps. And so those walkthrough reps helped us out a lot as well. Whenever we had just come off of a game from Army, seeing stuff from Hawaii, being able to walk it through, that was big for us.
Yeah, I definitely think our coaching staff are their credit to our scout team, definitely, but I think our coaching staff does a really, really good job making it very clear to guys what exactly the look they want to see. Like the spacing needs to be specific. If we're in a Denver H set and they want the H a yard and a half off the ball, if the guy's not a yard and a half off the ball,
they don't get him off that ball.
You're going to hear a coach screaming at him like, "How stupid are you? Like, can you read a card?" And guys learn quick. If I don't want to get yelled at, and if I don't want to, if I want to make an impact on this team, I got to read this card and I got to read it like it's a book. So I think they do a super good job watching the film, getting that, transferring what they want to see into our scouts. And then once we see it, I honestly think a lot of times the look is tougher on a Air Force Tuesday in full pads than it is come Saturday. Guys are super competitive. Guys want to make their mark. It's so rare that you see a freshman or even sophomores. It's tough to see playing time. So guys have a fire to get playing time, and they know the way to do that is obviously spring ball. But you don't get on the top of the spring ball depth chart without kicking butt during the season on the scout team. So I think guys are super competitive, and I think a combination of that and our coaching staff putting them in exactly how they want them makes us super prepared. And like Trey said, we do. I would put the amount of walkthrough reps that we get between after a Thursday practice and before a Saturday game. I mean, we're getting anywhere from 350 to 450 reps of walkthrough between in those 40, what is it, probably 35, 40 hours before game time. So we never really stop preparing until kickoff.
One thing I also will say too is, and he alluded to this, our scouts have meetings, like legit meetings for our practices and looks that our coaches want them to give us on a daily basis. And I've talked to guys from different teams, and a lot of those teams don't have the same thing. They just expect the people to get lined up where they want when they get on the field during the practice day. And so for us, like it's huge for us to be able to have scouts that love the team and want to see us succeed on Saturdays, and are going to sit in those meetings, even though they're not getting coached up on anything that they're going to be doing in their future in our offense. They're getting coached up and helping us get that look and that precise look that we need every practice. So the meetings that they have are huge for our program.
Yeah, and I honestly, to say one more thing, I think the caliber of person that you get coming, even coaching, but just coming to the academy, guys have a lot of pride in what they do. So when you put a guy in any role, they're not gonna half-ass the role. They're gonna have a lot of pride in what they do, and they're gonna execute it well. And the coaches too, they take a lot of pride. I mean, you hear guys talk like that, like they say that card I just drew is beautiful. Like I nobody can mess up this card because I put so much work into it. Guys have pride in and how good can I draw a card? How good can I do a rep? And they can take credit for a lot of our success because of that, because they take pride in what they do and they contribute a lot.
So, do you guys have a pregame ritual? And if so, what is it?
I mean, we have a pretty, you know, I guess it's not really a ritual. We just do the same thing over and over and over on game days. But I guess the ritual that you could say is walking the field together as a defense. Wherever we are, whether it's an away game or home game, and moving whoever we need to move out the way while we're doing it. That's a pretty big ritual that our defense has. And then other than that, it's really just, you know, taking, our whole team, getting them hyped for a little bit, then going back in. And I have my own ritual, but like there's not really like a team thing, other than like walking the field. I feel like that we do. Let's go.
Like,
You can think of one.
is your own ritual? There's like some superstition stuff in there, like you got to wear the same wristband, or listen to the same music, or eat the same meal.
Yeah, no, it's like exactly what you're saying. Like I pee in the same stall every home game. And I would listen to the same song right before we go out for our last hoorah, right before we go out, as a team captain. I do that, and it's the same thing over and over and over. And I feel like it gets me ready and gets me hyped for the game. Small stuff like now that I look back on it, like peeing in that stall, like I'm sure that didn't do a thing for my play on the field, but it did something for me mentally. So
Yeah.
stuff like that.
I mean, and also I think like routine, I think is super important. Like Trey said, I would listen to the same like 8 songs on the bus ride. I would time up when we're gonna leave the hotel and when we're gonna get off the bus at the stadium. And I would listen to the same songs and end with the same song. And then once I get out there, we walk the field, and you do everything exactly the same. You put on eye black at the same time. We have the 90-minute clock before the game starts, and everything happens at the same minute, down to the minute every time. So I think, win or lose, doing things, you have a right way of doing things, and you got to do it at the same time. And it's not really a superstition. Like, I don't think it's going to, make us win or lose, but that's how you prepare, and it gives you the best opportunity.
Helps create that muscle memory, right? Like,
Yeah.
you just preparing yourself.
Definitely.
You guys talked about it a little bit. What would you, if you could pick one song, what's the must listen to song pregame?
For me, it's "I'm Me" by Lil Wayne. Y'all should go take a listen to it. Like it'll put a fire under your butt for sure. But yeah, that's it for me.
I listened to X Gon' Give It to Him by DMX on the bus, but then I don't listen
R.I.P.
after I get
R.I.P.
seriously. Once I get off the bus, I'm done with the music. I just go and kind of I don't wear headphones pregame. I like to kind of soak in the day and just kind of be there in the moment and relay. Like I have some stuff that I write down, just the stuff that I want to focus on that game, just in terms of not really development, but like stuff, if I see something in film that week, I want to make sure I exploit that week on the field. Or if I see something that I'm doing wrong in practice that I need to work on, and to technically I need to focus on that. So I focus on that in my pregame and make sure it kind of that mental note kind of rides with me during the game.
And I believe it's I'm me, but who's you? Is that part of it, Trey?
It is.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, you hit.
All right. Did you have a question that I wasn't? I mean,
I know. I wasn't familiar with your game, but I guess
Okay.
you do.
all right. Was football always your first love as a kid, as far as sports go? And did you play any other sports?
We already heard a little bit from you, Bo, about that.
Yeah. You guys got my answer. You're Trey's.
Yeah, so for me, it was, always football. Like I dabbled with soccer, but like after a while, kicking that ball, like you get tired of it. And running, doing all that running, like, I would rather gain weight and eat what I want to eat and play the game I like that I love. So it was football for the longest. Well, not the longest. It's football all my life, and then I added in, sprinkled in like basketball and track in there. But will tell you, I'm the best basketball player we got on the team.
I
And
would not tell
then,
you that.
yes, he would to make me feel good. And then track, I did track all the way throughout my high school career, but I was a lot better at it going into ninth grade. Like I was really good at it. I went to Junior Olympics ninth grade, and then my coach wanted me to gain weight, and I gained that weight and gained 30 pounds in 1 year. And I don't really think my body was ready for it. But I got slow. So track was definitely my second tier sport then.
Switching gears a little bit, let's assume you can't, playing football is not an option, and you've completed your military obligations to the Air Force. What would you want to do career wise?
I something in business. That's what I got my degree in. I think we both got business management degrees. So I would, after that, I'll probably, depending on where my life goes, I'll want to get my master's at some point, and then just go into something with business, economics or finance or something like that.
Yeah, for me, I definitely see myself getting a master's degree. Um, but really, for me, I want to one day become an angel investor. I want to give back. But real estate broker, I can see myself doing that. I want to invest in some franchises. I want to own some franchises. So whenever I'm able to see that career come to fruition, like hopefully I'm able to make passive income, in that way. And then I see Rick just add something in, but yeah, coach. Um, I can't really see myself leaving the game, even after the NFL. I want to have my foot in it, somehow. So I could 100% see myself being a coach. And that's why all this networking and talking to new people and introducing yourself to a bunch of different guys, like that's going to help you in the long run, especially for what I want to do, just because the NFL, playing in it and coaching in it afterwards, or having a position in the NFL is a lot about who you know and who you're able to impact while you knew them. So that's my plan for while I'm in.
What is a hidden talent you possess or an interesting fact about yourself that you would like to share with our listeners?
I don't know. I'd say my best talent outside of basketball or football is basketball, but Rick just put in because
Golf.
he knows I'm always golfing. I do love golfing. I wouldn't say it's a talent, but it's a hobby.
For me, it would be singing. Um, I actually like no BS. I used to be a legit singer. Um, my school they made it like a fundraiser for me to go to America's Got Talent with me and my friend, and we were legit. We were good. But at some point, like it got a little lame in some of my some of the school's eyes, so I just ended up playing football. I can still sing. I definitely sing in the shower. I'm really good at that. People compliment me all the time. So yeah, I'll probably say that's my next best skill. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it there.
I think I know the answer to this next question based on how you guys answered some other questions, but let's see what you say. It's Army versus Navy. Who are you rooting for and why?
Oh shit.
No, hey, there's no team for me. It depends on the year. Whoever we lost to, or if we beat them, then I don't care. But if we lost to one of them, I want them to lose.
For
So this
me,
this year,
it
I want
is.
to win.
Yeah, for me, if they're going against each other, I don't care however long I'm alive for. I want it to be Navy. And I don't know why. It's just like I see that black and gold and I see red. Like,
I agree with that.
it's something different about the comments that they've made, something different about how their players address us, something different about how, even they speak during the game, or, even how they're people who have graduated, how they come back, and what they have to say about the Air Force personnel. It's I definitely see a lot more red when I see Army. So
I agree with that. And their social media definitely just fuels the flame. Their social media does a great job getting us fired up.
yeah.
All right, the NCAA football game is coming back out, and you've got Madden for the NFL. What is your overall rating, and what is your highest attribute?
I'll give Trey's.
Okay, you give Trey's, and then Trey, you give Bo's.
I'm not sure what the lowest rating is, but that would be Trey's.
That would be Trey.
Very low.
Wait, are we talking about college or NFL?
And his awareness would be the lowest.
Let's say Madden.
What would be his best attribute?
His best attribute?
He hasn't thought about this.
Trey can talk about me, and I'll think about his best attribute. It's hard.
Do they have looks on Madden? That would be
my swag rating.
Percent of hair. No, I'm playing. I think for me, like college, because we're not gonna be in the college game, sadly. Just because of our class and
you'll miss out on that free video game and $600.
I'm gonna have to go down and download the roster and see what they actually have me rated, because I know no matter what the rating is, I'm gonna be mad.
Yeah, but I think Madden, legit first year, I might be like a 64 overall. 63 maybe. I did a little bit of research, and I saw what the other rookies that were kind of in my same scenario were projected to be the same were, and yeah, they're low. So I had to build myself up, but I think my biggest one was gonna be my biggest one was gonna be screw you, Bo. Mine's gonna be awareness of this field, and probably playmaking ability. Honestly, I think Bo's would be around there too.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think that going into my first year, I'm not gonna blow smoke. I think whatever the lowest rating is, that's what they'll have me at, because I'm a white linebacker from a service academy. I don't think they're gonna think that I'm the greatest player. I'm gonna have to go change some hearts and minds.
Hey, I mean, look at Zach Thomas, right? Short little guy coming from Texas Tech.
Yeah. I'm gonna still play with you, Bo, no matter what team.
You have to boost my stats the first year.
I guess I do have a follow-up question to that. Are you guys a little bit bummed that you're not going to be in the NCAA video game when it comes out here?
That would have been really cool. That would have been really cool.
As a kid playing NCAA 13 and 14 when it ended, I felt like I was getting closer to playing in college. I could taste it, and I was like, man, I'm gonna be able to place myself one day. And then for me, and I'm sure Bo would as well, to have that little star under your name and just be running around the field making plays, oh my God, that's any kid's dream. But
and I know I have a lot of friends who say, oh, I can't wait to play as you in the video game, and I'm like, yeah, well, sorry.
Download Mope.
They'll be able to create you, I guess, right? They'll be
I hope so.
Player.
I hope so.
Coach Calhoun comes into the locker room and says, "No need for pads today, boys. Bring your running shoes." So, what's the first someone's to blame? What position group do you think? What comes to mind first? Those are the guys that did it.
Defensive lineman.
Come on.
100%. Come on. Yeah, we got too many sideways.
I think you're probably right, and it's only because we have definitely some blockheads in the defensive line room, but we definitely get held to a higher standard, I think. So I think that I think that is the reason why we would be the culprits.
Nah, but definitely, yeah. Everything was right when he said defensive lineman. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be them. But
night out with the team. Who's the best dressed? Or who's got the most swag on the team?
Oh, well, Jace Waters wasn't on the team this year, but
I hope he sees this.
It would have been this guy, Jace Waters. Shout out to Jace Waters. He's a logistics officer, Lieutenant Waters at MacDill Air Force Base. This year, I don't know.
I think it would have been probably Emmanuel Michel.
Or ZK.
Yeah, or ZK. They both knew how to dress pretty well. So yeah, probably one of those two. Oh,
What's your favorite?
JLE. John gotta get shouted out at least once in this thing. It would probably be no, never mind. It would be John. John would come in and make sure that he dressed better than everybody else.
What's your favorite meal?
Just generally,
Yeah.
I like hibachi fried rice. That's my favorite food.
Have you heard that new song, 50 Flow eating hibachi? No, okay, never mind. So for me, it would probably be pasta. I really just say Italian food. Like I can do a lot with Italian food, and that's my favorite thing to make too. So it's pretty simple.
All right. If you had a free day to do whatever, what are you doing?
I'm probably
Mm.
golfing.
Yeah, that was so easy. Um, for me, I'll probably. Huh. It depends on the day and depends on who I'm with. But I really like going to see like new small like what are they called? I'm tripping on the name right now. It's like those like underseen undercover bars that people don't know about. Um
Speakeasies.
Speakeasies. Yeah, I like to find new speakeasies with people. Just like to travel out and see things that, most people in the city haven't seen yet. I love to ski. Probably not gonna be able to do that anymore for the next few years. But fishing, I love fishing. I like being on a lake. I feel like I'm a beach boy at heart. So trying to find a lake close to me and going there with some free people, like probably do something like that.
And when you say Beach Boy at heart, you definitely mean the singing Beach Boys, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Yep. We're on the same wavelength.
Okay, good.
All right. Trey, what's it like being related to Ed Reed?
My head looked crazy. But it was it was cool. I mean, it's a blessing to be able to have somebody like that in my corner, somebody that can give me you know, direction and advice from literally the best to ever do it at that position. So it's insane having him in the family. Um, and yeah, no, it's cool being able to see him grow and do the things that he's doing now. He's actually like part broadcaster, part DJ right now. So he's going on his own kind of journey, but still here for the family and doing it big and whatever he's doing. So um, it's been fun to keep up with him, and he's done a lot more for me than just football. Like he's starting to set me up with financial advisors and lawyers to help me out through the whole process of the league, and getting me with people that and learning to trust. So he does a lot more than just the football side that people think of him. So it's a blessing for sure.
If you could sit down and have lunch and talk with any 3 people in the world, dead or alive, who would they be and why?
I don't know.
We're coming at you with all the off the wall questions at this point.
Y'all know who P Diddy is?
Yeah,
No, I'm playing. I'll probably
he's in
say
some trouble right now.
yeah, no,
So let's take it easy
yeah,
on P Diddy.
yeah. I'll probably say um Drake from his music side of things and how he was able to like grow himself. Um, Shoot, probably. That's a good question. Probably Beyonce. I've had a crush on her since I was a kid. Um, Sorry, Jay Z. Peace out. But and then probably Lil Wayne. They're all singers. So that's kind of boring. But Lil Wayne makes the music that I like the most. Lil Wayne, he's grown himself past just being that music mogul. And then yeah, Beyonce, because I still got a crush on her. So that's it.
I would say just like the greats in sports. I would say Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods would be mine.
Mm.
All right. One last question before we let you guys go. Give us one player on offense, one player on defense that we need to know about for the 2024 Air Force football team and why.
Mm. One player on defense, I'm gonna let you know right now, can be Golf.
Oh yeah.
He's coming back from a little injury that set him back a little bit, but I've seen him climb and crawl, and he's doing everything that he can do to get back on the field to
He'll be
be where
great.
he was. And so I'm excited to see what he does this year. It's going to be fun watching him. And then on offense, it's going to be a guy that people don't really talk about much, just because they haven't really heard the name yet. But there's going to be a guy named Evan Rao who's going to be pretty good, especially if he puts on a little bit of weight this year. He already has the speed and quickness. And then, oh my goodness, I'm tripping on his name right now. Bo, can you remind me? He got hurt this past year. He was a freshman, bad leg injury. He got, escorted off the team for a little bit because of the injury. Tripping on his name.
Blake Fletcher?
No, he was on offense.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
While you think mine, Camby's definitely a lock. Like he's going to come back and do great things defensively, and I'd say offensively, Luke Vonderhaar, our tackle. He is a freak athlete, and he's looking big. I think he will probably be one of the best. I think he'll be a first team all conference tackle as a junior next year. That's my projection. I think he'll be great. I think Camby is a for sure. If Camby stays healthy, he'll be right there for the best player in the conference, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, he was if he hadn't gotten hurt.
Zadroik. He's going to be a demon again. He's on turn back right now, so he's not with the program. So he'll have 2 seasons left, but I think he's another guy he'll be a first team all conference. If he can stay healthy, he's a first team all conference lock the next 2 years. He's a fantastic player, and he gives interior offensive linemen nightmares.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't get the name of the guy that I'm talking about, sadly, but
what position?
He's a slot back, really a running back.
Is he maybe Rick was telling us about somebody? Oh man, was his name like Few, or he came from?
Came through.
He was telling us about. He played in Florida. I remember that. He came from Florida. I'm trying to remember Rick Frew. Yeah, Frew.
Okay, yeah.
Is that who you're thinking about?
I don't think he got hurt. He'll be a good player, but I don't think he got hurt.
He'll definitely be a good player. But this dude came from Florida too. Oh my God, it's gonna kill me.
Caleb Killian, is that what you're talking about?
Killian, thank you.
Yeah,
Caleb
yeah. He's a good kid, and he's a really, really good athlete. If they give him a chance, he'll be great.
Yeah. He might be one of the next greats for sure. If he can stay healthy too. It's all about staying healthy. If all these guys can stay healthy, like they're gonna be extremely, extremely good talents for this program.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to seeing how they develop.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how the team does next year, because I think there's a lot of doubters with how many guys graduated, and I think I'm a firm believer in the Air Force reload. So I think we'll be better than people expect next year.
I think when Justice and I talked to Rick, we talked about there are lots of holes to fill, but when you look at the track record of Air Force over the years, there's a lot of 9-10 win seasons followed up by other 8 and 9 win seasons, and you might have a 5-win season here or there, but it's not like it's
not a continued thing. We've done a really good job, I think, with this program, having continued success. So I think
absolutely,
this program, even if next year is a down year, which I don't think it will be, especially as much as people think it will be, they're just going to keep building, and the coaching staff is. I firmly believe our coaching staff is the hardest working coaching staff in the country, and they're gonna find a way to utilize the tools that we have, and they've done a great job recruiting too. We're gonna have a lot of young talent that's getting curated next year. So if they can put it together mentally, they're gonna be great players right away.
Yeah, I think not having this drop off is a lot to do with too. You talked about leadership a lot. But it's like being in the right place at the right time, knowing where you have to be, and that thing that a service academy I feel like has over other programs is that togetherness is different than in other places. Yeah. So I think that really helps too.
It's definitely people get bonded. They don't really have a choice but to bond. So guys will get really close really fast.
Yeah, I talking to a lot of the guys I train with, and like the relationships that people had on the team, or the cliques that they had, or the true offense versus defense stereotype. Like a lot of those teams, like they did not click well at all with each other, and I mean that's how it's going to be a lot of times with the transfer portal, random people coming in, taking people's positions, people leaving out of nowhere, lockers getting cleaned out. With us, like we kind of have a really good sense of who's gonna be standing with, one another from freshman year to senior year. Um, so that definitely makes it a little bit more special for us because we get pretty much the same resources, the same experiences, the same memories as everybody else that we're going to school with. So it definitely makes it a little bit closer.
Yeah, I think in today's world, like you said, with the transfer portal, NIL, that kind of stuff, I think people kind of that they think about that in terms of all of college football, right? Whereas you guys in the academy, that just you don't have to deal with. I don't know if drama is the right word, but you don't have to deal with that as much. I just read today about a linebacker from Charlotte who has been in and out of the portal like 3 times since December. And it just seems like you guys don't have those unnecessary distractions like that kind of stuff. And I think people, discount that when they see all the returning production that's gone. Right? They don't think, well, they're not dealing with all these other things. There's guys that have been there. There's guys that are going to step up into those spots.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, that does it for our interview. You guys made it through. This is probably one of the most mentally grueling things you guys have ever been through, um, with some of those questions. So we appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to, talk to us and our viewers and our listeners. So thank you guys very much, and we wish you the best of luck. Here come NFL draft, which coming up later this month.
Yeah. No, we appreciate you guys big time for having us.
Thank you
And,
so much.
yeah, this was definitely a good time.
Thank you.
All right.